Alright, so welcome to another episode of ISO, Shall Distancing Designer Interviews, where we interview designers, local designers in the Philippines. And for today, we have another designer slash illustrator slash adman. And magaling siya, as in, natutuwa ako dun sa mga, sa illustrations niya, very clean, especially the black and white ones. Let's welcome JohnRay. So, JohnRay, kamusta?
Hi, Dustin. Hi, mga
Friends.
listeners. Viewers,
And
friends.
viewers, yeah. Grabe.
Hello.
Grabe. As in, I'm very honored that you're one of the guests in this show because I really like your work. I really like your aesthetic. Well, iba-iba naman kasi ng aesthetic din per designer. Pero, of course, ang basic na tinatanong namin to all the guests here is, first, can you introduce yourself naman? Kasi so that they could have an idea on who you are and what you do.
First of all, thank you for inviting me dito sa SAW.DESIGN talk. So, I'm John Raymond Bumanglag. JohnRay or the JohnRay sa IG tsaka Facebook. Ayun yung palayaw ko. So, I guess I know I'm a graphic designer. I'm also an illustrator and an advertising professional. So yun, that's me. Ano pa ba? Yun, I've been working in the industry for 11 years na. And I have worked, parang I would say well-rounded na. I've worked in an ad agency, a design studio, in-house designer din para sa corporate. And now, balik ako sa advertising agency. So, yun. Yung career ko, I guess it spans, in the 11 years, may variety siya. So, iba-ibang project, iba-ibang clients. And I've also dabbled in freelance work din. Tapos, mga side gig. Yun. So, I guess, it's a really iba-iba. Halo-halong experience siya. Pero focus talaga sa design and illustration.
Galing, 11 years? Parang akala ko 25 ka lang. So that that gave me an idea on how perhaps, anyway, we won't discuss your age, but I'm just amazed na 11 years in the industry. So with that question, how did you start your graphic design career? Did you study formally for it or even before ba? How did you get into this career?
Actually, it didn't start with graphic design. It all started with comics talaga. So, I would hit back talaga to, growing up, I loved cartoons. Then I discovered anime and comics and manga. So, yun yung parang sabi ko, yun yung gusto kong gawin. So, that's why nag-apply ako sa UST, University of Santo Tomas, sa CFAD. Pero I didn't know that what I was getting into. Ang alam ko lang may fine arts. So, di ba CFAD, College of Fine Arts? Yung advertising, yun yung hindi ko alam kung ano yun. Pero sabi ko, dito ako matututo eh. So, game. So, from there, doon ako na-expose beyond comics, yung fine arts, advertising arts, graphic design, na-expose na ako nung college. Then, after college, I wanted to work in comics talaga. Pero I guess, since siguro at that time, hindi ko pa talaga alam yung kung saan ako pupunta. I wanted to do comics, pero siguro yung opportunity wasn't there yet. So that's why I applied to an advertising agency. Ayun yung first job ko. Tapos nakapasok naman. So I was able naman to apply everything I've learned. Tapos while being in an ad agency, nandun pa rin yung thought ko na I wanted to be a storyteller. So parang naging side gig siya. So illustration, comics, and yun. While still working in an ad agency. So parang doon na nurture yung parang I can stick to one thing pala. Kaya ko palang i-broaden pa yung experience ko. Tapos, in terms of graphic design, I guess ang pinaka-influence ko doon started sa Team Manila. Nung lumabas yung Team Manila
Another
2000.
Team Manila person.
So doon ako natuwa sa mga designs nila na hindi ko pa alam kung bakit sobrang ganda. Yung pala Swiss influence. Swiss graphic design, tapos yun nga, Helvetica, ganyan. So natuwa ako na parang napaka-simple ng execution pero ang ganda ng idea na to distill the Filipino culture in such a graphic way. So doon ko parang nag-research about graphic design talaga, mga Swiss designers, international designers, ganyan. So doon na parang sabi ko, madami pa lang pwedeng matutunan pa. Besides comics, besides advertising, besides illustration, may graphic design din. So yun. So doon na, I guess, yung start ng career ko.
Ang wide yung variation nung sa career in terms of nag-adman ka na kasi, tapos nag-graphic design. So, let me focus now on illustration. Kasi since you've mentioned na comics yung the reason bakit ka nag-double into it. Anong particular comics yung parang, this is something that I really would like to do moving forward? Anong comics yun?
Backtrack ulit tayo nung high school. So, yung early 2000s, doon lumabas yung... hindi. I've been reading like yung mga manga dati. Naruto, One Piece, Bleach. Yan yung mga sikat na manga noon. I didn't really have access to DC and Marvel comics kasi mahal. Wala pa akong pera pambili noon. So, wala akong access noon. Yung manga kasi, alam mo naman, may mga libreng sites yun. So, tapos, from there, doon ako naengganyo. Like, ang ganda na storytelling and stuff. Pero nung high school, doon lumabas, I'm sure everyone or most of my generation knows of Culture Crash comics.
So yung Culture Crash, Pasig.
Yes. Locally made manga, I guess. Pinoy manga. Doon ako na-open up na parang, kaya pala to locally. So, hindi pala ako stuck na sa Japan lang, mga Japanese lang. So, kaya palang i-apply din sa local culture natin. In terms of, I guess, art style, yes. It's very, very, very Japanese. Pero yung Pinoy flavor niya makes it, I guess, locally, parang mas ma-appreciate mo na, oh my God, nagtatagalog yung mga characters, it's a Filipino setting. So, yun. Doon yung start ko na to dabble into illustration na I did some of my own. I copied Masashi Kishimoto, artist ng Naruto, tapos artist ng Akira, si Katsuhiro Otomo. Yun yung influence ko at first. It was talagang manga, anime ako noon. Then, kaya pagpasok ng college, doon ako na parang na-open up tuloy ako sa other styles. Di pala dapat mas-stuck lang sa anime. Parang yun.
Can you safely say na with you illustrating for a long time already, have you already developed your own, or you can say na, well, my style is this? Can you safely say that you have definition on that?
Actually, I've been asking myself that question, siguro for the longest time. And nasasabi ko na parang wala akong I would say parang naka-divide yung styles ko. Kaya kong mas graphic illustration, kayang-kaya ko. Kaya ko rin na mas hindi siya anime manga pero mas seryoso, mas I guess western Marvel comic style a bit. Kaya ko rin 'yon. Tapos kaya ko rin maging conceptual. So parang I overall as an illustrator, hindi ako stuck sa isang style because I also love experimenting as an artist. So yun yung artist side ko. I love experimenting. That's why in the past I would say 3 to 4 years, I've been trying to explore kung ano yung kaya at hindi ko kayang gawin. So, if pupunta kayo sa IG ko, at the JohnRay, papansin nyo doon yung mga illustrations ko, it never stays in one style. Like, yung black and white series na mention mo nga, yun, very, anime mangas, na mas modern. Then, I also tried, exploring mas color. Katulad na tong illustration sa likod ko, yung Baguio illustration ko.
Yeah,
ito, walang manga dito, di ba? Pero it's more of experimenting din na kung anong kaya ko sa black and white. ano naman yung kaya ko sa color. So, it was addressing my weaknesses din. Na hindi ako magaling mag-color eh. In terms of color theory and stuff. So, dito ako
Hindi,
nagparang
hindi pa magaling yan. Hindi pa magaling yan. That was
I would
very
say,
colorful.
I would say I don't see it as magaling na. I would see it as it's an experiment. So okay yung naging experiment na to. Then next ulit. So I'm in the mindset na parang I don't wanna settle for okay magaling na ako dito. Parang ganun. So parang push naman natin ulit. Ano pa yung kaya ko pa? Yung ganun. So I would say going back to your question na kung ano yung style ko as an illustrator. I would say I'm a very flexible one. So I don't want to be stuck with just one. Tapos in terms of searching for identity din, parang it's okay for me to be marami akong variation. So it also strength din siya as an illustrator na kaya mo iba-ibang style. It's a strength din na good for clients na okay, kaya mo pala tong style. Ay, kaya mo rin to. So, yun, parang advantage siya. So, you would say I'm a jack of all trades. Pero, I wouldn't say na I'm a master of none. So, I'm a jack of all trades, but I'm a master of one, and that one is storytelling and graphic design illustration.
I like the confidence because that's something that people need in terms of creating because designing and creativity, it requires courage. That's the first step. So with that said, ako kasi favorite ko naman dun sa mga illustration sets mo kasi I've been following you for quite some time now. My favorite is the Baguio series kasi it's very colorful and it also has stories as you mentioned. I think magaling ka nga in terms of storytelling. So, among your illustrations, what would be your favorite?
Favorite right now, I would siguro sagutin ko in terms of recency, yung mga mas recent. I would say, ano ba? Out of all, siguro, yeah, itong Baguio series yung fave ko rin. For one, because nag-try ako ng bagong style dito at nag-work naman. Second, because dati when I was doing illustrations kasi, I was just doing it out of feeling kung ano emotion ko that day or that week. I just wanted to visualize it. Just trying to react to what's happening around me. Doon ko nilalabas. So doon yung, kung babalik ka doon sa black and white illustrations ko, doon yun. So it's very surrealistic, minsan very mas art. What I did with Baguio, Bloom Baguio series is try to infuse storytelling with my illustrations. Kasi actually I've talked about this with Jet Torres, my friend and co-designer sa Team Manila. Maganda, okay yung may craft ka, magaling ka mag-craft, magaling ka mag-design, but to really take it to the next level is you put a purpose behind the design or place a story that people can relate to. So yun yung strategy ko for this series. Crowdsourcing kumbaga. So ang ginawa ko with this series para mas may substance siya. So hindi siya style over substance. It's substance over style is you ask people stories of their Baguio experience and you visualize it for them. So nakatulong din yun for me kasi parang collaboration din siya with people. People I don't know. Mga strangers yun na nagme-message lang sa akin to illustrate their story of Baguio. Then, yun. I guess, maganda naman yung naging reception niya. And I'm proud of that work kasi, of this work kasi it also rings true na I'm Baguio born and raised ako sa Baguio. Doon ako hanggang high school. Doon pa rin naman, umuwi minsan. Pero parang it comes full circle na I gave back something kung saan ako nagsimula. So parang gano'n. Yeah.
Speaking of storytelling and crowdsourcing, it reminds me of another set that you did nung last February, tama ba? So, parang I think that's part of your strength. Na you tell other people's stories and then you create something from it. And it's really nice. Galing nun ah. No, that was very smart of a strategy. My last question, because this would be something that I hope would bring real inspiration to people and tips. I hope of all things that I got from your story, your 11 years and counting na career, is I think your strength is storytelling talaga. So, with that said, can you give us 3 tips for great storytelling? Not just with visuals, but also with like your process or tips in making great stories work.
Okay. It's a good time to ask that question kasi I've also been distilling yung mga how, mga why, uh, how to make good stories or why make good stories. So, siguro yung pinakauna is study the structure of stories. Yung alam natin sa stories is, I guess, yung na-influence tayo, Netflix, films, books, novels, comics, even advertising, even graphic design. May stories yan. You can instill stories with it. But if you don't know how or if you don't know why it works, I guess mas ma-challenge ka. So first tip is to study the structure of story. And by story, meaning it has to make sense and it has to be a good story. So parang you have to get something from it. So I've been studying a lot in terms of story. So nag-widen ulit ako ng scope. In graphic design kasi may hierarchy yan, di ba? So you focus on one thing, an element, focus on another hanggang ma-distill mo yung buong image or buong design. So may structure 'yon. So parang naintindihan ko na if it works here, ano yung pwede kong makuhanan from other mediums like film. So I've been studying screenplay writing out of curiosity. So I've studied mga story structure, books about storytelling like wait, sa search ko lang yung binasa kong book ha. Share ko tong book. So this is story by Robert McKee.
Oh.
So it's principles of screenwriting talaga na parang napawaw na okay, yung mga films na gusto natin, yung mga stories na nag-stay sa atin, they work because they follow a certain structure. Ikaw, ano yung favorite movie mo or film?
Shucks, hirap ng tanong na yun ah.
Or recent lang, mas madali. Kung ano yung recent na napanood mo na maganda.
Recent, The Chosen. It's a documentary. It's the life of Jesus, pero ang ganda ng pagkakakwento.
O diba? Yung term mo ngayon na maganda yung pagkakakwento, it's because I'm sure they planned it out. I'm sure in terms of planning out that documentary, nilayout nila kung paano nila sasabihin yung story ni Jesus in a way na parang mas maganda, mas maintindihan, or in a way na hindi pa nasasabi noon. So, ganun. So, ang naging nakuha ko dito sa book na to is about pacing your characters, like, using a structure to tell your story. Tapos, and yung how to tell a story and why. Parang ganun. So, kung babalik tayo sa doon ko nakuha yung parang, okay, if this can be applied to film, paano ko ito i-apply sa graphic design or sa comics or sa mga advertising na ginagawa namin. So it always follows a structure naman. Also, I've been reading how to write dialogue. I've been parang bumabalik din ako in terms of graphic design, I've restudied yung principles of graphic design, elements of graphic design, and how I can use those things to my advantage na behind my 11 years of experience. So parang for me, it's a continuous process of learning. So yung tip one, number one ko is always understand yung structure of how to tell a good story. So always research. Never stop learning. There's always a new way, or there's always an old way to make an old way new. So ganun lagi. Tapos yung tip number two would be parang to do good work, to tell good stories, you have to devour good stories or good work. Actually, ito yung nakuha ko while working in Gigil, the ad agency I'm in now. I've tinanong ko yung mga partners doon, si Sir Badong at si Sir Herbert Hernandez. Kung paano ba gumaling? Paano ba mas gumaling ka pa bilang isang advertising professional? Ang akala ko bibigyan niya ako ng babasahin na book or tuturuan nila ako. Well, kasama na yung turo, of course. Kasama na yan. Pero yung isang pinaka nakuha ko sa nila is you have to devour good work. Parang itaas mo yung taste mo. So parang I would compare it to like sa pagkain. Paano mo alam na masarap yung isang bagay? Kumbaga, natikman mo na lahat ng adobo ng mga friends mo, yung iba-ibang luto, ganyan-ganyan. Pero paano mo nalaman kung ano yung masasarap? Kasi natikman mo lahat. Meron tayong Behance, meron tayong Instagram, meron tayong lahat, Pinterest. We have a lot of sources now to inspire us. Pero we have to filter in din kung alin doon yung good work at yung bad work. Why does this graphic design project work, ang ganda ng typography, ang ganda ng illustration. Bakit ito pangit? So parang you have to be aware of the things you are putting in. Encourage ko yung mga designers na build sa Pinterest, gawa sila mga boards, inspiration boards. Sa Instagram, just keep saving yung mga magandang work. As at the end of the day or like the end of the week, balikan mo lahat yon, then study them kung ba't sila nag-work. Hanapin mo yung mga patterns na pwede mong kunin. So, maganda yung typography nito, maganda yung layout. Ay, maganda rin yung nito, pagkakalagay. So, i-notice mo yung patterns and trends. Kaya tayo, kaya every year merong sa Shutterstock, may trend report. Logo Fund, may trend report. Kung napapansin nyo, of course, every magbagong taon, nag-release yung mga companies ng trend report. That's because inaral nila yung mga work na lumabas for the whole year for you para ma-distill nila to notice what people are doing, what people are designing, para alam, doon mo malalaman kung ano yung nag-work at kung ano yung hindi. Kung wala doon sa list na yun yung like ibang work, ibig sabihin hindi siya nag-work or konti lang gumagawa pa. Okay, one last thing would be siguro in terms of this question na in terms of this tip number 2 na ang siguro advantage na binigay sa amin dito sa Gigil, they gave us access to this award show that showcases good work. So yung Cannes Lions. So they gave us access to mga case studies, mga award-winning case studies. So I would say kung graphic designer ka, if you're a writer, if you're a creative, seek out yung mga award-giving institutions. Research kung ano yung mga binigyan nilang mga recognition. In terms of film, Oscars. So, pansinin mo yung Oscars. In terms of writing, Palangka Awards. In terms of advertising, Cannes Lions, DNAD, Clio. In terms of graphic design, Adobe Design Awards. Pansinin mo yung mga, ba't sila nanalo ng award? Of course, medyo hindi lahat nag-enter. So, siyempre, alis na yung mga yun. So, hindi mo na sila mapansin. Or minsan, kung hindi award-giving body, it's more of, kung sa branding, under construction, yung website na yun, napaganda. Yung, parang, find this mga nag-aggregate ng good work and expose yourself to it. Every day. Like, every morning, ako ang habit ko, every morning, I watch case studies for an hour para continuous yung information na pumapasok sa akin para ma-inspire ako. And also, it will help you know, it will, tataas yung taste mo eh. The next time you do a project, the next time you see other people's work, alam mo na kung pangit o maganda. Alam mo na kung bakit hindi nag-work at paano mag-work. So yun. It even like drives you na parang, oh my God, ito yung mga work na world class. So dapat ganito rin yung work ko. So parang yun nga, hindi ka isolated. Kaya advantage yung i-widen mo yung scope mo. So I guess yun yung tip number 2 ko. Always be curious. Yun yung dapat always on mo as a creative. So be curious with everything or be extra curious about the thing you're interested in. So ako kasi, whenever I delve into something or kunwari, sabihin na natin, in a work situation, binigyan kami ng project ng client and yung industry niya, sabihin natin, nasa medical industry. So I have to be readily curious about that industry. Kailangan kong aralin kung bakit binavalue yun ng client. Para ma-value ko rin. So I know what he's talking about para align kami. Or like, if not sa work, if in your free time, nanood ka ng Netflix, you like a show, sabi, ano yung favorite show mo sa Netflix ngayon?
So, wag mo akong tanungin. Ang latest ko napanood.
Ano yung
Hindi ako, balikan ko lang ulit yung The Chosen. Balikan ko yung The Chosen because the casting was really great. But more importantly is yung storytelling nila talaga. As in, they presented Jesus in a way that humanized Jesus. Not just Son of God, but also Son of Man. So that was very nice. Plus, production value. Ganda.
Okay, sige. Focus tayo dun sa production value. So, coming from watching the Chosen docu, you want to find out paano ba nila ginawa yung production nila. Then from there you ask questions na kung ganun pala gumawa ng magandang production, paano nila ginawa rin sa ibang production nila. You try to like branch out. So ako, whenever I watch a movie, like say yung last movie na pinanood ko just last week, I just rewatched Inception by Christopher Nolan. So, na-rewatch ko lang yun. And na-curious ulit ako, paano niya naisip yung movie na yon. I watched mga interviews niya. I watched yung behind the scenes. I read about how he wrote it. Kung ano yung perspective ng mga actors. Even going as far as binasa ko yung screenplay niya. So, parang be extra curious about the things you enjoy. Para mas maintindihan mo ba't mo siya na-enjoy at ba't, alam mo yun. So that whenever ikaw babalik ka sa trabaho mo, babalik ka sa work mo, babalik ka sa graphic design, sa illustration work mo, you can, you pick up little things na pwede mong ma-apply sa work mo. You pick up these things. So, ayun.
So, ang hirap sabihin nung, ang ganda kasi nung magkakasabi mo, doon tinake note ko kasi siya. So, I placed it here. And, man, sobrang meaty nung tips na binigay mo. And I hope that this inspires other people to actually create good design and great creative work. Especially yung last, yung always be creative. Kasi that's something that sparks us into innovation. Creativity, curiosity. When you're curious, you ask a lot of questions, and may we never ever as creatives stop asking questions kasi that's the mother of innovation, yung asking questions. So yun, grabe, this was a very productive interview. John, maski ako tuloy, napa-question ako if I am curious enough as a creative. So there, I was very happy to talk to you, and because of that, I will also place links of your work in the description below, so that people could also see your work, so that they could also be inspired at the same time. So last message ko na before we end this interview is that I hope, because it's quarantine season, I hope to see you after this quarantine season. Pwede kaya yun? So that we can create something.
Yeah.
Of course, hopefully, hopefully that we can create something like a talk, like an hopeful in the long run. In the long run,
Or-
right? So that's all, and I hope the viewers would get something out from this. Really, really meaty interview regarding creativity and storytelling. So I hope to see you after quarantine.
Thanks,
Okay.
Justin. Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you for
No,
inviting
no, no,
everyone.
no. No, thank you. Thank you for bringing inspiration. Sige, sige. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey, thanks for tuning here at SAW.DESIGN PH, and we hope you enjoyed this episode of iSocial Design Interviews. Our goal is telling Philippine graphic design stories. If you'd like more content like this, how about clicking the subscribe button here? I think it's here, so you get more video resources about graphic design. And we're expecting to see you watching again here at iSocial Design PH.